Surprise, motherfucker! What's up? This is your friendly neighborhood Venger Satanis. This video is brought to you by Cha'alt, the best thing ever in existence. Okay. This video is kind of piggybacking on RPG Pundit's latest video, where he talks about cosmology. And he does. I would suggest you watch that video. This is my attempt to share it because, and I'll put a link in the description below because I think it's really good. And he touches on a lot of things, kind of covers a whole lot of stuff, as well as the cosmology for his home campaign, his authentic medieval, what have you. So I'm going to talk about Cha'alt. Surprise, surprise. Cha'alt, motherfucker! Oops. Okay. It's fine. The dust jacket just went a little crazy for a second. It's good. It's all good though. No books were damaged in this video. Okay, so I do spend a lot of time thinking about things of that nature with my home campaign, which is Cha'alt, and just in general, like even before Cha'alt, I wouldn't do the deepest dive, but I would give passing thoughts to what was going on cosmologically in the world or the universe. I do think it's a subject that game masters should spend more time thinking about, because I would wager that 90% of game masters give it little to zero thought. And I'm not saying you should be a freak about it and spend like half of your game mastering time focused on that, but you should give it some thought. I mean, it is fairly important in the grand scheme of things. I mean, unless you're just running a one shot, if you're running an actual campaign, I think you should pay attention to what it's all about. So I mean, it's the possibly the most fundamental aspect of your campaign setting. So just from that standpoint, it's important, and yeah, you should think about it. Recently, well, the last few years actually, I've been listening and following, various political topics. And one of the podcasts I watch on a fairly regular basis is Michael Knowles. And he's kind of opened my eyes to a few things that I wasn't either aware of or thought differently about. But, and he quotes a lot of people because he's, very well educated. And he says, he's quoting someone else. I can't remember who the originator is. But all political differences, when you come down to it, are theological. And at first, I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. How could that be? But then when he explains it, it's because basically politics is just judging right from wrong and how to do right or good by your city or state or country. And so you want to go towards the good and go away from the bad. But how do you know what's good and bad? Where do those values and belief systems and ideas of good and bad or good and evil, where do those come from? Fundamentally, they come from how you interpret the world, the universe, reality, and that ultimately is theological. It ultimately is what you believe about everything. And that's kind of where religion comes in. If you try not to be religious at all, okay, but your idea about what is good or what is bad comes from somewhere. So ultimately, that takes the place of the religion, which is why a lot of us, normies, see wokeism and the whole social justice phenomenon as a kind of religion. It's the cult of secular progressivism, and just because they try to be as atheistic as possible, or if you listen to Michael Knowles, devil worshippers, although I don't really see them as actual Satanists. They're just, I don't know, radical leftists to me. Um, anyway, I think I'm getting a little bit off track. But yeah, but that's where, coming back, that's where we're all talking about, and that's where we're all trying to figure out what's going on in the world, and our place in it, and what we have to do to achieve the things that we want. And what do we want? Well, that's based on, our inherent belief system, which comes from, I don't know, something outside. If it's not some sort of deity or force or supernatural spiritual thing, then it comes from what we've internalized from the external world, from, as much of objective reality as we can glean from our perceptions. Um, I don't know. I think that's very interesting stuff. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Either way. Either way, Cha'alt. Uh, but specifically with Cha'alt, speaking of, uh, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, I'm just saying how I do it, and that is I don't have an overarching, like, well, this is the way the final battle will go. And ultimately, this side wins and this side doesn't. Or the entire world or reality, the universe, what have you, you know, dies in a fiery explosion or is corrupted into eldritch madness or ascends up into the celestial light of heaven or something like that, or sucked into hell, or I don't have a specific cosmological finale in mind that, like, oh well, this is written in stone and this is just the way it's going to be. Every faction has an idea of what they think the final outcome is going to be. They individually have their own idea of the cosmos. I think, in a way, that's the only fair way to go about it, and it seems the most realistic because every faction believes that they're right, presumably. And also, there are many different Cha'alts. See, I come at Cha'alt from the creator's perspective, but also from a game designer's perspective. That there are basically infinite number of Cha'alts. I guess this would be like the metaverse type thing. So my version of Cha'alt, when I ran the game 2 weeks ago, is going to be slightly different than the Cha'alt session I ran yesterday. And that's going to be perhaps slightly, perhaps hugely different than the Cha'alt session or campaign that Mr. X runs on Saturdays in his home game, and and then there's someone out there that's mixing Cha'alt with some sort of OSR Rifts game, or Carcosa, or Dark Sun, or or their own homebrewed RPG, system. All those are slightly different Cha'alts. So, like I said, 2 weeks ago, Cha'alt might have exploded, uh, and is now just space dust floating through the galaxy. But I might run Cha'alt tomorrow, and that Cha'alt still exists. So it's a ever mutable, ever changing sort of quantum campaign setting. If you know anything about, I'm not gonna go deep into the quantum physics weeds, but the whole superposition, entanglement, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. That just makes sense to me, and that's just the way I do it, and that's the way I conceive of Cha'alt when I'm both running it and talking about it and writing for it. That just makes the most sense to me, and also for those reasons, it doesn't fit to have a specific cosmology. I believe in Cha'alt there are the gods, and I mean above the gods, obviously there's the game master, but below the game master there are the gods, and there are, I talk about them a lot, and they have a purpose, and I name specific ones, and various domains and beliefs and factions that might follow them. But ultimately I want to leave a lot of that kind of vague on purpose, because the player characters aren't like going up and talking to the gods and entering their realm and whatever willy nilly. Mostly they're on Cha'alt, and they're doing their own thing, and the gods look at them every once in a while, or certain gods do, and every once in a while they will bestow favor, or perhaps uh, every once in a while ill favor, and that's how they kind of influence people and the world and the campaign setting themselves. But I don't want to try to tell the game master, any game master, and I don't want to force it on myself when I'm thinking about Cha'alt and when I'm running it, that ultimately this is going to happen, because another cosmological piece of the puzzle I find, to me, is that nothing is set in stone. There's always the chance of an individual going against whatever is fated to be, whatever destiny happens. Maybe I watch too many movies, um, like the Terminator. There's no fate but what you make. Uh, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's being an optimist or what it is, but um, we just don't know. It's not set in stone, so we don't know. We don't know in this world, and I think it makes sense realistically, or for verisimilitude, it makes sense that in the game we wouldn't know which side is going to come out on top. Um, between like, I guess, good and evil, law and chaos, um, humanity versus whatever is trying to destroy humanity. So yeah, it's all very malleable and subjective. I mean, there's an objectivism to it, but that objectivism includes a bit of agnosticism, because ultimately we don't know 100% what is going to happen in the future. And I think carrying that over into the game, into the campaign setting, also makes a lot of sense. So with Cha'alt, you just don't know. And a little bit of that might be the whole Gonzo thing, but a lot of it just seems the proper way to me, and that's, if anybody's curious out there, that's how I view it, and that's how I run it, and that's how I write it. And if you like that too, awesome. Come on, join us. Come aboard the Cha'alt train. Choo choo! And if you don't like that, then do your own thing, right? Okay, this video is way too long, and we're in December now. I'm almost done with Encounter Critical 3. I'm going to hand it off to the layout guy by the middle of next week, I think, or the end of next week. Anyway, the PDF should be out by Christmas. I'm thinking like a few days before Christmas, maybe like, just going to throw a number out there, December 22nd, within a day or two of that, I'm guessing. And it's going to be really something special. It's going to be kind of like the original Encounter Critical mixed with Crimson Dragon Slayer D20. And I know that's not what a lot of people were thinking or wanted. That's the way it turned out. So give it a try, give it a chance. Don't hate on it until you actually, run it or play it. Even if it's not what you had in mind and you're like, well, I don't like this because for whatever reason, give it a chance. Just give it a try. That's all I'm asking. One try, just one session. Either running it or playing in it. Just, if you can't give me one shot, then come on. Then you never really were going to give me much of a chance anyway. Even if I slavishly adhered to the original Encounter Critical, if you're not even going to give me a one shot, you probably would have been upset regardless. But it's turning out to be more of a big project than I thought. Originally it was going to be like 20, 25 pages. It's up to like 60 pages now, and that's with the introductory adventure. It's expanding. It's becoming bigger. There's a lot of shout outs to the original Encounter Critical, which I'm happy about. I know a lot of fans are also happy about. So I'm trying to appease everybody while still maintaining my vision and something that I would want to run and that I will run. I will run Cha'alt with Encounter Critical 3 on occasion. Just like on occasion, I'll run it with Crimson Dragon Slayer D20. And every once in a while, maybe I'll run it with something completely different. I don't know. But it's an exciting time because it's really coming together. And there's a lot of cool, weird, funny, bizarre things happening that I'm really enjoying and writing. And I think game-wise, you guys are going to get a huge kick out of it too. That's, obviously that's my hope. And yeah, it's coming soon. 2-3 weeks, it'll be here. And probably more like 3 weeks. And yeah, really excited. So, tentacles crossed, that goes well. And that's it. I guess I'll catch you on the flip side. All right, thanks. Venger out. Bye. By the way, Cha'alt, please buy this. Buy the other two books, Cha'alt Feast of Malaise, Cha'alt Chartreuse Shadows. I will also put a link in the description below the other link in the description on where and how to buy the Cha'alt trilogy. Because it's the holidays and there's a sale and you don't want to miss it. Practically giving these books away for what they cost me. They're expensive. They're, it's not print on demand. It's specially printed with the highest grade materials. The books are all signed and numbered, limited edition. You want them in your collection. So that's it. All right.